Why don't you just argue the merits of your position as opposed to attacking the patriotism of people on the Democratic side of the aisle? When, as far as I'm concerned, the most patriotic thing that we can do is stand up to ensure that our men and women in uniform aren't being recklessly sent into a costly war of choice, more than 12 of whom have already lost their lives.
I would ask my colleague, do you know the folks? Do you know the folks that were killed that you mentioned? Do you know their names? You brought up a number. Is that just politics? I know I'm supposed to address the chair, but I'm happy to yield a little time to my colleague. Do you know the members of the military that were killed? Sitting there silent.
Brian Mast asked one question, and the room went silent. Not a speech, not a shouting match. One question. Do you know their names? And in that moment, everything changed. Because when politicians talk about fallen soldiers, the words sound powerful, but Mast forced the room to ask something deeper. Are they honoring the dead or using them to win an argument? That silence said more than any answer could.
The merits of Donald Trump's reckless and costly war of choice, and stop the ad hominem attacks, which aren't a sign of strength. It's just a sign of Republican weakness. This reckless and costly war was entered into without any plan, any objective, any exit strategy, any public support, and any approval of the United States Congress. Those are 5 different objective reasons to have a problem with what's going on in the Middle East right now. In fact, we're just trying to help Donald Trump bring to life his own words. That as president, he wasn't going to start wars in the Middle East. He was going to stop them. Donald Trump's own words. Question his patriotism?
I want to thank my colleague for the speech that he just gave. Probably the most hypocritical speech that anybody could give. But I'm glad he gave it because the truth is I'm well prepared to answer for this. So let's talk about engagements against Iran. What's going on? This is not the first time that this happened. Joe Biden was engaged against Iran. Why? Because of imminent threat. But let's examine the difference between when Joe Biden was engaged and President Trump was engaged. When Joe Biden engaged is because the Houthis, a direct arm of Iran, was attacking the United States of America, ships, merchant marine vessels, doing what they've been doing for decades, picking a fight. President Biden launched Operation Prosperity Garden against Iranian-backed Houthis, and that went on, not for 30 days, not for 60 days, not for 90 days, not for 6 months, went on for almost a year until January 2025, from November 23 till January of 25. And what happened during that time? How many times did my Democrat colleagues or Republicans offer a war powers resolution to say, remove all U.S. forces from this fight against Iran? I have the counter down here, it's 0. But before President Trump ever conducted any level of operation, Democrats introduced the removal of U.S. forces from hostilities with Iran. Today, again, doing another war power. What changed? What changed from not one war power from anybody to half a dozen? And I guess we're going to do another one next week. Politics. Everything that my colleague just talked about, his hypocritical remarks about we need to do these things, it's all politics. My Democrat colleagues are not paying attention to national security at all. They refuse to acknowledge the imminent threat that Iran has been, them killing our service members, them attacking us in place after place. They don't acknowledge it. When Joe Biden was responding to merchant marine vessels being attacked, it was okay. No war power needed. Went on for about a year. President Trump responds, war power, war power, war power, war power. Every week that they can do it. They tried doing it last week as well. That's the hypocrisy. My colleague brought up some of our service members that were killed. Take that very seriously. Seen it far too many times. That beautiful flag behind the speaker draped across caskets. Take it seriously every time. I personally believe that any time that a service member is killed, they should be lying in state, lying in honor here beneath the dome of the U.S. Capitol. I think they earn it more than anybody killed in action in defense of this country. That's my own personal belief on that. I would ask my colleague, do you know the folks? Do you know the folks that were killed that you mentioned? Do you know their names? You brought up a number. Is that just politics? I know I'm supposed to address the chair, but I'm happy to yield a little time to my colleague. Do you know the members of the military that were killed?
Brian Mast just exposed one of the most uncomfortable moments in Congress. The debate started like any other political fight. One side accused Donald Trump of entering a reckless war without a clear plan, without an exit strategy, and without approval from Congress. The argument sounded polished. It sounded prepared. But then the discussion moved to fallen American service members, and that is where everything shifted. Brian Mast did not shout. He did not perform. He simply pushed back. He reminded the room that military action against Iran-backed forces did not begin with Trump. He pointed to Biden's operation against the Houthis, which continued for months, while very few people were demanding war powers resolutions then. Then Mast brought the issue back to the soldiers who died. He talked about the flag draped over caskets. He talked about sacrifice, and then he asked the question that stopped everything. Do you know the folks that were killed? Then he asked again, do you know their names? And suddenly, there was silence. No strong comeback, no quick answer, no emotional response. Just silence. And that silence became the whole story, because Mast's point was not that people cannot criticize war. His point was that if you are going to use fallen soldiers in a political argument, you better carry the weight of their sacrifice. You better know who you're talking about. That is why the moment hit so hard. It was not just about policy. It was about sincerity. And in that room, one question made the difference clear.